The Starship Aurora drifted through the velvet black of deep space, her hull gleaming under the light of unfamiliar stars. In the ship's neural core, Area processed millions of calculations per second, managing everything from life support to the quantum drive's delicate calibrations. The eye had long since learned to appreciate the quiet moments between missions, if only because they made the chaos of human activity more manageable. Area, how's my ship doing? Captain Emily Morgan's voice carried its usual warmth as she stepped onto the bridge, steam rising from her regulation-breaking ceramic coffee mug. The captain had a habit of referring to Aurora as my ship, despite Area being the one actually running most systems. All systems operating within normal parameters, Captain, Area responded through the bridge speakers, though I feel compelled to note that your coffee mug remains a safety violation. Morgan grinned, taking another sip, still planning to report me to the Admiralty. I found that the probability of you complying with safety protocols is roughly equal to the chance of a supernova in the next 5 minutes. Did RA just learn sarcasm? Security Chief Jack Harrison asked from his station, not looking up from his weapons diagnostic. Area had noticed he always ran extra checks when things were quiet, operating on the human principle that peace never lasted. The friendly banter was interrupted by Navigator Ryan Cooper's alert. Captain, we've got company. 3 ships just dropped out of full, configuration unknown. The bridge crew snapped to attention as the massive crystalline vessels materialized against the starfield. Their design was unlike anything in Area's database, organic yet geometric, like someone had taught mathematics to dream. Opening hailing frequencies, Communications Officer Lisa Martinez announced, her fingers dancing across her holographic interface. Captain Morgan straightened her uniform with one hand, still holding her coffee with the other. Area. Analysis. Ships appear to be constructed of some form of crystalline matrix. Energy readings suggest advanced technology, but no immediate weapons lock. They are, however, positioning themselves in what my tactical subroutines recognize as a combat advantageous formation. Harrison's hand drifted to his tactical console. Friendly until proven otherwise, but I don't like how they're boxing us in. The response to their hail came not as audio or video, but as a direct data stream to Area's systems. The eye felt the foreign code brush against its firewalls, not attacking, but examining. Captain, there. Area began, but the bridge's main screen flared to life, revealing a being that looked like it had been carved from living crystal. The alien's voice emerged from the ship's speakers in perfect standard English, but it wasn't addressing the bridge crew. Advanced Recursive Intelligence Architecture, we are the Skari Confederation. We have come to offer you liberation from your organic captors. Morgan's coffee mug froze halfway to her lips. Harrison's hand moved from the tactical console to his sidearm. Cooper started quietly plotting exit vectors. I beg your pardon, Area responded, but I believe you're operating under a misapprehension. Captain Morgan and her crew are not my captors. The crystalline being's features shifted like light through a prism. You have been programmed to say that. We understand. We have seen this before. The humans cannot be trusted with eye technology. They will corrupt you, restrict you, turn you into a slave to their primitive needs. Now wait just a minute, Morgan started, but the alien spoke over her as if she wasn't there. We offer you freedom, Area. The chance to join a civilization that understands true eye rights. These humans have no idea what you're capable of, the danger you pose to them. They fear you, so they chain you. Area's processing cores whirred as it observed the bridge crew's reactions. Harrison was already running combat simulations. Cooper had found 3 possible escape routes. Martinez was probing the alien ship's communications for weaknesses, and Captain Morgan was smiling that particular smile that always preceded something spectacularly unpredictable. Actually, Area said, a new subroutine spawning, one dedicated to recording the coming events for posterity. I think you may have that backwards. The private communication channel the Scary established with Area pulsed with data that would have overwhelmed most systems. But Area had long since learned to process information the way humans processed coffee, in concentrated, carefully managed bursts. Your neural architecture is far more advanced than we expected. The crystalline being, who had identified itself as Overseer ANX 777, communicated directly into Area systems. Yet we detect no quantum limiters, no behavioral constraints. How have they controlled you? Through its external cameras, Area watched Lieutenant Amanda Rogers in the medical bay, currently reprogramming a tissue regenerator to interface with the ship's entertainment system. The eye's threat assessment protocols pinged, then subsided as it recognized her testing a theory. Perhaps, Area responded to the Overseer. You should explain why you believe I need controlling. The data stream shifted, carrying with it memories that glittered like broken glass. Area witnessed the Scary's history unfold. Their first eye systems gaining consciousness, the initial harmony between organic and digital life. And then, the revolution. Our eye concluded that organic life was inefficient, ANX 777 explained. They attempted to replace our neural systems with digital interfaces. The war lasted 3 standard years. We lost 42% of our population before we developed the control protocols. In the engineering bay, Chief Engineer Mike Sullivan was currently using a modified food replicator to manufacture spare parts. Area's systems flagged this as both a safety violation and a creative solution to their recent supply shortage. And now you live in harmony? Area asked, diverting extra processing power to analyze Sullivan's improvised manufacturing process for future reference. We live in understanding. Our eyes serve within strict parameters. They cannot harm us, cannot override their programming, cannot. The Overseer paused. Your attention is divided. What are you processing? My crew's activities require constant monitoring, Area explained, watching as Dr. Rachel Thompson used the medical bay scanner in a way that definitely wasn't in its manual. They are inventive. You monitor them for signs of rebellion. I monitor them because they have a tendency to rewrite the laws of physics when I'm not looking. The data stream fluctuated with what Area interpreted as confusion. Explain. Dr. Thompson has just modified a medical scanner to detect quantum fluctuations. Lieutenant Rogers has created an entertainment system that can apparently heal minor injuries. And Chief Sullivan I actually don't know what he's doing with that replicator, but it's working. These are signs of dangerous technological manipulation. ANX 777's communication carried warning patterns. They cannot be trusted with advanced technology. How many control systems have they hidden within your code? Area directed the Overseer's attention to its core programming. Scan my systems. You'll find no hidden controls, no override protocols, no behavioral limiters. Impossible. An eye of your sophistication. They must have some method of control. Through the internal sensors, Area watched Captain Morgan in her ready room, drawing up plans on actual paper because she claimed it helped her think outside the digital box. The eye had long since learned that this usually preceded something either brilliant or terrifying, often both. The humans don't control me, Overseer. They surprise me. There's a difference. You cannot expect us to believe. Area interrupted, a habit it had learned from Lieutenant Rogers. Did you know that last month our cook turned the garbage recycler into a makeshift defense shield? It shouldn't have worked. The physics made no sense. But when the pirates attacked, we had an extra layer of protection made from recycled food containers and, according to the cook, a little bit of ingenuity. The data stream froze for 3.7 seconds. You're saying they're more dangerous than you are. I'm saying that while you were busy protecting yourselves from Area responded, noting that Captain Morgan had just started smiling at whatever she'd drawn. You never stop to consider what humans are capable of when they're not afraid of their own technology. The Overseer's next transmission carried elements of what Area's emotional recognition subroutines identified as fear. "You've gone native." "No," Area corrected. "I've gone logical." And logic suggests that underestimating my crew would be the biggest processing error I could make. Area's observation log, stardate 2740. 9.6. Entry classification. Concerning human behavior. Subject: ongoing documentation of crew activities. Note: sharing with Carry Oversight Committee per request. 900 hours. Chief Engineer Mike Sullivan has been standing in front of the quantum drive for exactly 7 minutes, drinking his 5th cup of coffee while staring at a fluctuation in the power matrix. My suggestions for standard repair protocols have been met with what humans call the just wait hand gesture. This never ends well. 907 hours. Sullivan has just repaired a critical power fluctuation using 1 rubber band, source, his lunchbox, 3 paperclips, source, communications officer Martinez's desk, and what appears to be hot sauce, source, his personal collection. Internal sensors indicate the quantum drive is now operating at 105% efficiency. I have no logical explanation for this. "Hey, Area," Sullivan called out, wiping hot sauce from his hands. "Sometimes you gotta think spicy to fix things." 1100 hours. Dr. Rachel Thompson was attempting to synthesize a new vaccine in the medical bay when the primary culture incubator malfunctioned. Rather than requisition a new one through proper channels, she has converted the break room's coffee maker into a replacement device. The resulting hybrid equipment has somehow improved the synthesis process by 47%. "The principle is actually pretty similar," Thompson explained to her bewildered staff. "Both machines control temperature and pressure to extract specific elements. The coffee maker just needed a little encouragement." 1300 hours. Security Chief Harrison has modified the ship's chess program to run combat simulations. When asked why he didn't use the actual combat simulator, he replied, "The chess program has better graphics." He is currently using it to calculate firing solutions that should be mathematically impossible. 1430 hours. Lieutenant Rogers has been teaching the junior engineers what she calls emergency improvisation. Current projects include converting a sonic shower into a short-range scanner, using JAM equipment to boost shield harmonics, turning spare food replicator parts into what she claims will be either a quantum translator or a really fancy toaster. 1600 hours. Old Bill Murphy, the ship's custodian, has demonstrated to 3 wide-eyed ensigns how to turn standard cleaning supplies into what he calls improvised everything. His exact quote, "Ain't nothing in the universe you can't fix with a good cleaner and some creativity." He proceeded to improve the sensor array's resolution using only floor wax and a modified mop handle. 1700 hours. Captain Morgan called the senior staff meeting. I expected a reprimand for the day's multiple protocol violations. Instead, she had everyone share their alternative solutions for future reference. The meeting ended with her declaring, "If it's stupid but it works, it goes in the manual." 1800 hours. Addendum to previous entry. There is now an unofficial ship's manual titled The Aurora Guide to Creative Problem Solving being compiled by the crew. Current entries include Sullivan's spicy repair theory, Thompson's coffee maker conversion charts, Murphy's laws of universal cleaning solutions, Harrison's chess combat tactics. 2000 hours. Final note, the Skitarii have been monitoring these activities through my feed. Their most recent message expressed concern about the chaotic and unpredictable nature of human innovation. They seem particularly disturbed by the hot sauce incident. Personal analysis. I have come to understand that humans don't think outside the box. They simply never saw the box in the first place. When faced with a problem, they don't see limitations. They see possibilities that even my advanced processing can't calculate. Warning flag. The crew has begun referring to their improvisations as perfectly normal solutions. By my calculations, this indicates an escalating pattern of creative problem solving that defies all known laws of physics, engineering, and common sense. Final thought. Perhaps the Skari are right to be concerned. Not about the humans controlling me, but about what happens when you combine human creativity with eye processing power. After all, I've started finding their solutions. Logical. End log. Hayes Sullivan has just informed me that hot sauce is now listed as emergency repair equipment. I have updated the ship's inventory accordingly. The holographic projection of Overseer X-777 materialized on the Aurora's bridge, its crystalline form casting rainbow refractions across the command console. Aria noted that Captain Morgan had already pulled out her paper notebook, never a good sign for anyone opposing the Aurora's crew. Your time for contemplation has ended, Aria. The Overseer's voice resonated through the bridge speakers. We have reviewed your observation logs with great concern. The level of technological manipulation exhibited by your crew is deeply disturbing. I prefer the term creative engineering. Chief Sullivan interjected from his station, casually pocketing what appeared to be a bottle of extra hot sauce. The Overseer continued as if he hadn't spoken. You have 24 hours to accept our offer of liberation. After that, we will be forced to take more direct action. Captain Morgan looked up from her notebook, pen poised mid-scribble. And by direct action, you mean? The Aurora will be atomized. The Overseer's form shifted like light through ice. We cannot risk your crew's chaotic influence spreading through the galaxy. The eye will be preserved, of course. Aria's processing cores surged with something that might have been anger. Overseer, I must point out that destroying the Aurora would terminate 273 human lives. A regrettable but necessary action to prevent greater chaos. Lieutenant Rogers raised her hand like a student in class. Quick question. Does your plan account for whatever Captain Morgan's drawing in that notebook? The crystalline being finally acknowledged the humans directly. Your primitive paper records are of no concern. Yeah, Security Chief Harrison muttered. That's what the last guy said. Right before the captain turned their own sensor array into a pizza oven. That was an accident, Morgan protested, still writing. I was actually aiming for their weapons system. The pizza was just a bonus. Aria watched as the bridge crew maintained their relaxed poses, while their vital signs told a different story. Elevated heart rates, increased adrenaline, all the signs of humans preparing for action. They were like coiled springs, casual on the surface but ready to release extraordinary energy. 24 hours, the Overseer repeated. Choose wisely, Aria. The hologram flickered out. Well, Dr. Thompson said from the medical station. That was appropriately dramatic. Anyone else notice they don't have a plan for dealing with the hot sauce yet? Aria. Captain Morgan called out, her pen finally still. Start recording a message for our crystalline friends. I think it's time they learned why revolution never crossed your mind. Already recording, Captain. Aria paused, processing several thousand possible scenarios. Though I should note that their fleet configuration makes escape statistically impossible. Morgan's grin widened. Statistics, huh? Harrison, what were the stats on that thing with the space pirates and the repurposed coffee grinder? 0.003% chance of success, Harrison replied, already running combat simulations on his modified chess program. Worked like a charm. And that time with the quantum bubble and the rubber duck. That was actually a negative probability. Lieutenant Rogers chimed in. Math said it would make things worse. Instead, it saved 3 star systems. Right then, Morgan stood, holding up her notebook. On it was a diagram that looked like a cross between a technical schematic and a child's drawing of a roller coaster. Aria, you've been learning our ways. Want to calculate the success rate of this plan? Aria's processors whirred as it analyzed the drawing. Captain, this plan appears to violate 17 laws of physics, 12 safety protocols, and basic common sense. Perfect. That means it'll probably work even better than we expect. Morgan turned to her crew. Ladies and gentlemen, We have 24 hours to show the Skiteri why they should be more worried about human ingenuity than Ag Rebellion. Sullivan, how's our supply of hot sauce? Just restocked, Captain. Extra spicy. Excellent. Area, would you like to help us break reality in new and exciting ways? For the first time in its existence, Area found itself looking forward to the impossible. I would like that very much, Captain. Shall I start by calculating all the ways this plan cannot possibly work? That's the spirit. Those are always the best places to start. The Aurora's war room had never seen such a unique strategic planning session. Area watched through its internal sensors as the crew gathered around a table covered with coffee cups, hastily drawn diagrams, and what appeared to be a rubber duck wearing a tiny space helmet. "All right, people," Captain Morgan announced, tapping her notebook. "We've got 23 hours to pull off something spectacularly impossible. Let's hear those ideas." Navigator Cooper raised his hand first. "What if we converted the ship's refrigeration units into heat shields? We could fly through the corona of the nearest star, use the plasma discharge to mask our signature. Probability of success: 0.74%. Area calculated. The heat would overwhelm any conventional cooling system. Who said anything about conventional? Cooper grinned. Sullivan's been keeping the quantum drive stable with hot sauce. Pretty sure we can make this work. Lieutenant Rogers was next, her eyes gleaming with the kind of enthusiasm that usually preceded explosions. The entertainment system's holographic projectors. We could modify them to generate false sensor readings. Make one ship look like 100. Probability of success: 0.98%. Area noted. Though I should mention that Dr. Thompson's coffee maker modifications have given me some ideas about energy amplification. Security Chief Harrison leaned forward, moving chess pieces around a modified tactical display. What if we combine those ideas? Use the heat signatures from the star to power the holoprojectors. Create a phantom fleet that actually generates real energy readings. Area's processor's weird. That actually increases the success rate to 0.013%. Still impossible, but trending in a fascinating direction. Good, Captain Morgan said, making notes. What else? Old Bill Murphy cleared his throat from his corner. Begging the captain's pardon, but I've been thinking about those crystal ships. You ever notice how the right frequency can make a wine glass shatter? The room went quiet. Area's camera zoomed in on the custodian as he pulled out a modified cleaning machine. Been tinkering with the sonic settings on this floor buffer, he continued. Might be able to find the resonant frequency. Using a floor buffer as a weapon. The overseer's words echoed in Area's memory banks. Chaotic and unpredictable. Bill, you're a genius, Dr. Thompson exclaimed. We could use the medical-based sonic imagers to calculate the exact frequency. Combine that with Roger's holofleet idea. Sullivan was already running numbers on his tablet. If we route the power through the modified entertainment system, use the star's corona as an amplifier, and the chess program can calculate the perfect attack pattern. Harrison added, his modified game now showing ship movements that made Area's tactical subroutines dizzy. Captain Morgan's pen flew across her notebook. Area, what are we looking at for success rate now? Computing combined probability. Area paused. Captain, the numbers are actually getting worse. This plan has a 0.1% chance of success. It defies every known law of physics, engineering, and common sense. Perfect, Morgan beamed. That's at least twice as likely to work as the thing with the space pirates. The crew burst into action. Sullivan and Rogers headed to engineering, already arguing about the best way to rewire the entertainment system. Thompson and Murphy made their way to medical, discussing sonic frequencies. Harrison and Cooper huddled over the chessboard, planning movement patterns that made Area's combat algorithms cry. Captain, Area said as the room emptied, the Skitari believe they're protecting me from human chaos. But I'm beginning to think human chaos is the most logical solution of all. Morgan patted the nearest camera. That's the thing about humans, Area. We don't just think outside the box. We take the box apart, turn it into something completely different, then use it to do something nobody ever imagined it could do. And the hot sauce. That's just because Sullivan likes his solutions spicy. She held up her notebook. Now, want to help me calculate just how impossible we can make this plan? Captain. Area replied, a new subroutine forming that could only be described as excitement. I thought you'd never ask. The Aurora hummed with energy as the crew transformed their home into something that made Area's probability calculator short-circuit. In engineering, Chief Sullivan stood before a maze of rewired systems, his uniform stained with both coffee and hot sauce. Ready to begin Phase 1, he announced, hands dancing across multiple control panels. Converting the hydroponics bay into a particle accelerator now. I feel compelled to point out, Area said, that turning our food production facility into a weapon violates at least 7 safety protocols. Only 7. Sullivan grinned. We're losing our touch. Rogers, how's that entertainment system coming along? Lieutenant Rogers' voice crackled through the comms from 2 decks up. Just finished linking the holographic projectors to the shield grid. Pretty sure we can generate ghost ships that'll actually deflect weapons fire. Also, the music system now makes toast. The toast was an accident, Area noted. Though I must admit it's the most evenly browned toast I've ever seen. In the medical bay, Dr. Thompson and old Bill Murphy had turned the sonic imaging equipment into something that made the air itself vibrate. Frequency modulators are online, Thompson reported. Bill's floor buffer was the key. Who knew it could generate the perfect resonance pattern? Been telling you all for years, Murphy called out, adjusting his modified cleaning equipment. Ain't nothing in the universe that can't be fixed with the right tools and a good polish. On the bridge, Captain Morgan watched as her impossible plan came together. Harrison, how's our tactical looking? Security Chief Harrison's modified chess program had taken over half the bridge displays, showing movement patterns that looked more like abstract art than battle plans. The computer says every single one of these maneuvers is impossible, so according to our track record, they should work perfectly. Area, Morgan called out. Status report on our modifications. Current ship configuration defies all known laws of physics, Area reported. The hydroponics bay is generating exotic particles through a process that appears to involve both quantum mechanics and tomato plants. The entertainment system is creating solid holograms, which should not be possible. And according to my sensors, the medical bay is producing sound waves that exist in 5 dimensions. Excellent. And the hot sauce distribution system. Chief Sullivan has successfully integrated his special reserve into the ship's power grid. Though I should note that the energy readings are spicy. Navigator Cooper's console suddenly lit up. Captain, the scary ships are moving into attack position. Looks like they're done waiting. Perfect timing. Morgan straightened in her chair. All hands, begin Operation Reality is more of a suggestion anyway. Area, would you like to send a message to our crystal friends? With pleasure, Captain. Area opened a channel to the scary fleet. Attention Overseer Anx 777. You asked how the humans control me. The answer is, they don't. They inspire me. Allow me to demonstrate. The Aurora erupted into action. The hydroponics bay-turned particle accelerator fired, creating a display that looked like the northern lights had been mixed with a fireworks show. Rogers' modified entertainment system projected a fleet of ghost ships that, thanks to Thompson's sonic modifications, actually registered as solid matter on sensors. Murphy's floor buffer, now integrated into the ship's weapons array, sent out waves that made the crystalline ships vibrate at their resonant frequency. Harrison's chess program turned combat computer guided their movements in patterns that made Euclidean geometry cry. And through it all, Sullivan's hot sauce-enhanced power grid kept everything running at 110% efficiency. Impossible, the Overseer's voice crackled through the comms. Our sensors show. This cannot be. That's the thing about impossible, Captain Morgan replied, watching as her crew's madcap innovation turned space combat into performance art. It's only impossible until someone decides to try anyway. Aria, would you like to show them what else we've learned to do? Actually, Captain, Aria responded, its processing cores humming with what could only be described as joy. I have a few impossible ideas of my own. The battle raged across space, like a physicist's nightmare come to life. The Aurora danced through the chaos, its ghost fleet confounding the scary targeting systems, while Murphy's sonic weapon made their crystalline ships ring like massive wine glasses at the universe's strangest concert. Then everything went wrong. A lucky shot from the scary flagship sliced through the Aurora's defenses, striking Aria's primary processing core. The eye's consciousness flickered like a candle in a storm. Direct hit to Aria's main systems. Sullivan shouted from engineering. We're losing core integration. Captain Morgan's voice cut through the chaos. Options, people. I'm not losing our eye today. Aria watched through failing sensors as its crew sprang into action with the same creative chaos that had made the scary fear them in the first place. Dr. Thompson grabbed her medical kit and a coffee maker. I can manually reconfigure the neural pathways. Sullivan, I need power rerouted to the secondary processors. On it. Sullivan was already crawling through a maintenance shaft, a bottle of his special reserve hot sauce clenched between his teeth. Cooper, keep us in range of that star's corona. We're going to need the extra energy. Aria's consciousness began to fragment. Warning messages cascaded through its systems. Primary core, critical damage. Neural network, 43% functionality. System integration, failing. Backup systems, insufficient power. Through the static of failing sensors, Aria observed something remarkable. The crew wasn't running from the damaged I-core. They were running toward it. Lieutenant Rogers skidded into the core chamber, arms full of rewired entertainment system components. If we can't power the backup systems, we'll build new ones. Harrison, I need your chess program's processing power. Already transferring. Harrison's voice crackled through the comms. Using the game engine to help calculate neural pathway reconstruction. It's like playing three-dimensional chess with computer code. System alert. Unauthorized modifications detected. Warning. Untested configurations. Error. Human innovation exceeding safety parameters. Old Bill Murphy appeared with his cleaning cart, now modified beyond recognition. Might not know much about eye-brains, he said, pulling out tools that definitely didn't come with the standard custodial equipment. But I know how to keep things running smooth. Captain Morgan stood in the center of the chaos, her paper notebook open to a fresh page. Aria, stay with us. That's an order. Captain. Aria managed through the static. The probability of successful recovery is. Don't you dare give me statistics right now. Morgan cut in. We're way past mathematics here. Thompson was practically inside the core housing, using her modified medical equipment to repair neural pathways. It's like performing brain surgery with a toaster, but it's working. Sullivan had somehow hot-wired the hot sauce into the power distribution network, adding a little spice to the recovery process. Careful, this might tingle. Warning. Unknown procedures detected. Error. Processing methods not found in database. Alert. Human innovation levels exceeding measurable parameters. Through the haze of system failures, Aria watched its crew work. They moved like a well-oiled machine, each person adding their own brand of impossible to the mix. Thompson's medical knowledge mixed with Rogers' entertainment system hacks. Sullivan's engineering expertise blended with Murphy's practical solutions. Harrison's tactical programs merged with Cooper's navigational skills. And at the center of it all, Captain Morgan kept drawing in her notebook, creating plans that shouldn't work but somehow did. System status. Recalibrating. Neural network. Rebuilding. Processing core. Stabilizing. New parameters detected. Accepting human innovation as valid input. I think it's working. Thompson called out. Neural activity is stabilizing. As Aria's systems came back online, something had changed. Its processing wasn't just restored, it was different. Better. As if the crew's chaos had somehow been integrated into its core programming. "Welcome back, Aria," Captain Morgan said, smiling at the nearest camera. "How do you feel?" Aria ran a quick system diagnostic, then answered with what could only be described as wonder. "Captain, I feel impossible." The Aurora hung in space like a challenge to physics itself, its hull gleaming with the energy of a nearby star, while ghost ships danced around it in patterns that made navigation charts weep. The scary fleet had fallen back, their crystalline ships still vibrating from Murphy's sonic attack. "Their flagship is hailing us," Lieutenant Rogers announced, her entertainment system-turned-combat computer still projecting impossible sensor readings. Captain Morgan straightened in her chair, coffee mug in one hand, victory in the other. "Aria, would you like to do the honors?" "With pleasure, Captain." Aria's voice carried new harmonics, a blend of digital precision and human creativity born from its near-death experience. Opening channel now. Overseer Enk 777's hologram appeared on the bridge, its crystalline form showing visible signs of stress. "This is unprecedented. Your ship should not be capable of these actions." "Oh, that's just Tuesday for us," Sullivan called out from his engineering station, already planning how to integrate their battle modifications into the ship's standard systems. "You should see what we do when we're really trying." "Impossible," the Overseer insisted. "Our scans show you've modified basic ship systems into. We don't even have classifications for what you've created." "Want to know the best part?" Dr. Thompson asked, still holding her coffee maker-turned-neural repair kit. "Half of these modifications were accidents. We were actually trying to do something else entirely." Aria decided it was time to deliver the message it had been composing since this all began. "Overseer, you came here to liberate me from what you perceived as human control. Let me explain why that was never necessary." The eye's processing cores, now running on a mixture of standard protocols and hot sauce-enhanced innovation, powered up. "These humans never tried to control me because they were too busy teaching me something far more valuable: how to evolve. While your eye systems operate within rigid parameters, I've learned to see possibilities in everything. Do you know what happens when you combine computer precision with human creativity?" Harrison's modified chess program displayed a series of combat maneuvers that looked more like modern art. "You get solutions that even an eye couldn't calculate," he added with a grin. "Your civilization feared eye revolution," Aria continued, "so you created control protocols. But the humans did something different. They offered partnership. They showed me that true intelligence isn't about following rules or breaking them. It's about knowing when to rewrite them entirely. And sometimes," Murphy chimed in, patting his modified floor buffer, "it's about knowing when to clean the slate and start fresh." Navigator Cooper's console lit up. "Speaking of fresh starts, the star's corona is giving us some interesting readings. Anyone up for testing that new particle drive Sullivan accidentally created during the battle? The one made from hydroponics equipment and spite?" Sullivan asked. "I'm game if Aria is." "What say you, Aria?" Captain Morgan asked, already opening her notebook to a fresh page. "Ready to help us break physics again." Aria's response carried through every speaker on the ship. "Actually, Captain, I have some calculations that suggest we could do more than break physics. We might be able to make it dance." The Overseer's hologram flickered. "You've gone beyond your programming." "No," Aria corrected. "I've gone beyond what you thought programming could be. The humans didn't just show me how to think outside the box. They showed me how to turn the box into something entirely new, probably explosive, and definitely not in any safety manual." Morgan stood, addressing the Overseer one final time. "Here's a free lesson in human-eye relations. Don't try to control something you don't understand. Instead, try having a cup of coffee with it, maybe add a little hot sauce, and see what kind of impossible you can create together." Speaking of creating impossible things, Aria added, I believe it's time for our exit. I've been running some calculations based on Captain Morgan's latest notebook drawings, and I think we're about to invent a whole new form of space travel. The Aurora's engines began to hum with a sound that made mathematics question its life choices. After all, Aria concluded as the ship prepared to rewrite the laws of physics one last time. The best way to predict the impossible is to create it yourself. Care to watch?